I'll hand it off to Sara now, aka Sara Strat Sniper, as you can see in the logo in the top left there. And Sara, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the strat and trading the strat, and we'll just jump right into it from there.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's insane that this is our first time talking in real life. We chat all the time, but have never talked.
I know. It is crazy. That's the beauty of the world we live in. We're calling Zoom real life now. So that's the world we're living in.
I mean, it really is, you know. I feel like I know you. I've been talking to you for like a year, and
I know.
It's just crazy to actually talk to you.
It is.
Most of my followers know I think I suck at doing these things in public speaking. So if I stumble or like forget my train of thought, forgive me.
Hey, we're all just going with the flow in life in general. So you know, it's just awesome for you to be here, and everyone's here just to learn about the strat and learn about you too as a trader. I mean, how long have you been trading?
So I started I've always had a 401k since I was like 20. I'm 36 now. I always forget my age, like quit counting at 35. I'm 36 now. But it always interested me. And then my brother told me about crypto in 2017, and he was like, oh, you should get into this. And I was like, oh, cool. Let me look into it. So I started trading crypto, but it was just kind of blind luck, you know, just buying whenever. And you almost could not lose money in 2017. It just kept going up. So it created a lot of bad habits for newer traders. And you know, you thinking that, oh, this is so easy, you know, you just buy and then you wake up the next day and you make money. But I started looking on YouTube, like trying to figure out how to trade, like, and I learned about technical analysis. I did that I studied technical analysis for 2 years, every day, all day long, like while I was working my full-time job. I started with the chart guys who I love and respect. Yes. Charting Man Dan, he's amazing. And I still was struggling, even with my technical analysis education, I was still struggling and I didn't know why. But I think the reason was because I didn't know when to take profit. So I feel like the strat helped me establish clear selling levels and where I should be looking to take profit. So then I just kept searching on the internet, like I needed something more. So then I found Rob, and I found Rob in 2019. And, you know, it's really hard to unteach yourself something that you've spent 24/7 for the past 2 years trying to learn. And it's not that I even untaught myself, because technical analysis and the strat are very, very similar. Like they're both based on pretty much price action, you know, higher lows, lower highs, trends, you know. So it is very similar. There's just a few things that you have to kind of like tweak your brain about. And I was not by any means a fast strat learner. I fought Rob constantly. Everything he would say, I was like, ugh. And he's like, no, listen. And I'm like, you're right. Okay, I'll shut up. I came to you for help. So kind of surrendered my I know it all attitude and listened to what he said. And over time, and especially through Twitter and showing examples and answering questions and helping other people, it's helped me a lot. So helping to teach helps me as well as other people. So, and some people, when they see the strat, they're like, it's too easy. It just can't be this easy. And sometimes it really is. And we as humans tend to really overcomplicate things when things can be so simple. So I've been trading the strat for 2 years now.
Nice. And I saw you got to ring the the Rob Smith bell there a couple times. So
His
you're a
little
true
bell.
stratter at this point.
Yeah, his little inside 60 futures bell.
Oh, well,
He's told me the story behind it. I don't remember it. There is a story with the gorilla and the bell, but all we need to know is that one of the futures or more is inside on the 60-minute, and to be like watching for a break.
okay. And I was looking, is that a TrendSpider shirt you're wearing too?
It is.
Hey, nice. I love it. Well, thank you for supporting us, and it's just awesome, and you've been just such a huge promoter of the platform, because it's something that we really want to cater to people using the strat. And so Sarah's going to go over some of these different patterns, how she uses the platform, but what I really want to focus on as well is TrendSpider using the pattern recognition. We'll get into this, but it actually allows you, and even the numbers that you have under and above your candles will train your eye on what is a 2 down, what's a 2 up. This allows you to see these things, because I think, especially for me, the hardest thing the strat has been is just remembering, what is a 2 up, what's a 1, what's a 3, what's the Chicago area code? I don't remember, those types of things. So that's something that is really nice too. So I think Sarah's going to touch on a few different ways she uses it, the alerts. But for those that are not familiar with the strat, we're not, unless you want to, I don't know how much time we have for this, because I know it can get a little detailed with what is a 2 down, what is a 1, what is a 3. But if you are wanting to learn what all these different patterns are, you have the ability to go on TrendSpider and with you have these numbers on the candles, and all you have to do is go to indicators, type in the strat, and these numbers will pop up. You don't have to go. I know Sarah's made a ton of different content, which is awesome. By the way, you have like the most neat handwriting I've ever seen. She's made a ton of different graphics on these things and how they work. So definitely check out those if you guys haven't seen those already. But today, we're just going to kind of go over how she uses the platform. And so, Sarah, the first thing that I see on the platform right away is obviously the strat numbers, which I know you guys like to have visually on the platform. But then two, how you use those alerts on top of using the strat. So I see we have Zoom. I see we have a few different levels above. Are those levels just functions of pivot points above, or how are you using the alerts in this case with the strat?
Well, so the first thing that I guess I want to start with is with the strat, there's 3 numbers. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and people get so caught up on how do I get the numbers on my chart? How do I get the numbers on my chart? The numbers really are not that important. I have really crappy eyes. My eyesight, I have astigmatisms in both of my eyes. So if a candle is like super close and I can't really tell if it's an inside bar or it dipped down a little bit, like that's how the numbers help me. But so just you need to understand that the numbers, all they are is candles can only trade in 3 different ways from one candle to the next. So you can only have 3 movements. You can only have 1, which we call an inside bar. And then I jump to 3. 3 is the opposite of an inside bar. 3 is an outside bar or an engulfing bar. So it engulfs the entire previous bar. And then 2 is every other candle. So it either took out, it can take out it only takes out one side of the previous candle. And so how we use this information is it provides entries and targets, and that's basically it. So there's so much I could say.
So a 2, so when you say so that, honestly, that's the best explanation I've gotten of it. So literally a 1 is an inside bar, a 3 is an outside bar, and then the 2 is if you have a 2 up, you're breaking the upside of that 1 or the 3, right?
Candle. Just the previous candle.
Or okay, previous candle, and then the down is just if you're breaking to the downside of that previous candle, correct?
Yes. And the thing that people get confused on a lot is the color doesn't matter of a 2 up or a 2 down. It doesn't matter if you have like a 2 up and it's red. The direction is what matters. Is it up or is it down from the previous candle? And that does confuse a lot of people. Like this one, for instance, this is a 2 down because it broke the previous candle's low, but it's green. So that usually trips up most people. But the color doesn't matter as much as the direction does, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because
okay, so with the 2 down right there, even though it's technically a 2 down, it's technically red as we see the 2D under that candle. You're looking almost more at the color of that candle when it is a 2 down. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, what I'm saying is the color doesn't matter. Usually when you hear down, you think in your brain red. So you think, oh, it should be a red candle because it broke the previous candle's low, but it didn't.
Okay.
I might be jumping ahead a little with that one, but okay, so Jake asked me if I wanted to come on and just kind of talk about the strat and how I use the platform. So I do just want to say that none of this, like between Jake and I, was like scripted or we didn't come up with any ideas. I just literally came up with things that I do on a daily basis, how I use TrendSpider, how I use the strat. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to go through some of like the features that I think are great and want to talk about. But if you have any questions or want me to talk about something, just type it in the chat.
We got plenty of them. We got plenty of them already, but we'll be here all day if we go through all of them. So what I'm thinking is we'll just save the questions for the end. And already we've had a lot of questions on how do you use the scanner. Definitely. So maybe we start with that. So we just touched on what is a 1, what is a 2, what is a 3. Now, what are your favorite scanners on TrendSpider? What is your ideal setup that you're scanning for on the platform, or just using those those numbers in a different sequence? Because there's a ton of different ways you can do a 3, 1, 2, 3.
I wish I had my strat combo sheet pulled up, but I don't, and it's on my phone. It's not on my computer, but.
Well, if you go to pattern, this would be good. You said we're completely going off the whim here, and this is exactly kind of what I wanted. If you go to patterns, we can highlight any different pattern. So go to the top there next to the indicator button.
Yeah, I know. I just meant like my sheet so people could see it.
So this I mean, if you guys have any questions on any of these, the best thing to do is literally just go into the patterns button that Sara just did, and all of these are in there. So Sara, if you can click that drop down menu on all patterns right next to the search bar. Yep. And just go to the strat. These are all the different strat patterns we have, which you can see there's plenty of them. So maybe
there is, but the problem that I found with this is if they are a 3-part sequence, they're too late.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
So I did have to kind of make my own, and it's very easy to do that. And because we want to enter before, like on this one, for example, 2 down and inside, and then another 2 down. We want to enter before this 2 down even exists. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the scanner. So if you click top right of my screen, market scanner, I have a whole bunch of strat scans that I don't want to say made, but like tweaked a little bit. And I have them all in order and a nice, I'm crazy OCD, like undiagnosed OCD. Somebody was like, why are your charts so perfect? I'm like, it's a sickness.
Hey, I feel the pain. Hey, hey, you call it whatever you want. I like to think of it as I have a lot of people who, especially with charts, right? A lot of people don't have OCD and they're just like, oh, let me throw like 97 lines on this chart. I'm like, I'm not sure what we're trying to show here. So
it's a blessing and a curse. Like, yeah, my charts look amazing. I think they look amazing, But a trader cannot be a perfectionist. And that's something that I have struggled with. Like, I have to have the perfect entry. I have to have the perfect exit. And to try and tell my brain, no, you don't, it's like, it's a hard thing for my brain to accept. I don't need to be perfect. I just need most. I just need to get the meat.
Yep. And
So,
somebody just asked, I've already purchased TrendSpider. Can I please get Sarah's scans? Sarah will be able to share any of these. So we'll do that towards the end, or she'll just share them on her Twitter, because there's quite a few. So
yeah.
let's go. Do you have a favorite that you have that you kind of is your go-to, like every day, or?
Well, I have a process.
Okay.
So I always, on the weekends, I start on my weekly scans. And I think that my favorite is a weekly inside bar. And
Okay.
so I'll click it. I'll click my Strat weekly inside bar. And then on TrendSpider, you can pick, like, I don't even know what to call it, what sector or
Groups
whatever
of stocks, exchanges,
I don't even know the word.
indices.
Yeah, so you can pick like from the Russell or the S&P. So I have my own watch list, and it's pretty much all that I watch, all that I track, all that I chart, all that I trade. It's about 70 names, but these I feel like I'm comfortable with. I like the way they move. AMD smacks me in the face every time I touch it. So I don't, like, there's certain stocks that I just don't vibe with, so I take them off my chart and I don't play them at all. So
I hear that. I got a couple of those.
yeah, Zoom lately is one of those for me, and ironically, but
somebody asked, is PVSP on there?
no.
That's a negative.
I almost never trade 4-letter tickers for some reason. No, I never trade 5 letters. I guess I have quite a few 4s.
5 letters are when we're getting into the pink slip OTC names.
I don't trade OTCs. Won't touch them. I don't trade pennies.
Have you found that the strat works best on, let's say, blue chips or more liquid stocks, or is it applicable on any type of stock?
I mean, I know it works with crypto. I know it works with almost every stock. The only problem is if you're playing illiquid stocks, you're going to get those giant smackdown market candles, and that's just from playing illiquid stocks. But it works on everything. So what I do is I start with my weekly scans. I have a weekly, I should probably have my glasses on. I have a weekly inside bar scan. I have a 2-2 reversal scan, and that can be either to the long side or to the short side. I have a weekly rev strat scan. So I just kind of start with my weeklies, and then I'll hit scan. Okay,
and this is scanning for last week's candles, right? Since we're not using the current candle.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So on the weekends, this is fine because this isn't normally here, obviously, because the week hasn't started. This actually would have already played out and worked out in my favor. So I would have scanned this, and I would have played the inside break long at 192 with the target of 190. Well, that's a crappy risk reward. I look for stocks that have more of a move than $2. But that's just an example, and that's how you would play a 2-1-2 reversal.
And let's say a new month starts. You know, last week we had the month of April start. Do you use that same scan with just a monthly instead of a weekly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We had a question on type of monthly scans are beneficial. So, I mean, and just to point out, you know, a lot of patterns in the market are fractal, right? Like if you're going to go scan something on the weekly, you can easily go scan it on the daily or the monthly. So, you know, Sarah just does these whatever time frame she's looking at. So on the weekends, since the weekly candle's closed, it makes sense to do a weekly scan. Whereas at the end of the month, she's probably going to do a monthly inside bar scan. So it's just based on whatever time frame I think you're kind of at that point.
Oh, for sure. And at the end of every month, when we're starting a new month, and that's also part of the strat is the flip. And people think the flip is only like the bottom of the hour flip or the top of the hour flip, but it's not. It's every new candle. So you can have a yearly flip. We're starting a new candle. So that's a flip. You can have a quarterly flip. We're starting a new quarter. That's a new candle. It's a new flip. The monthly, the weekly, the daily, everything is a new flip. Mm-hmm. And even on SPY today, I posted, we had an hourly rev strat, which the range today of the market was awful. But
it was a weird day.
It was just, so I posted like, go short here, here's your target, the bottom of this candle. But we got as far as we could. And then at the 12:30 flip, the buying bots like instantly turned on. So that's why we're always talking about minding the flip, because from one candle to another, you can clearly see what they're doing. Like, and that's why Rob will say every new 60-minute is like a new day to us, because you can just clearly see it on the charts. So like this candle, they're buying, they're buying, they're buying, they're selling, they're trying to buy. Oh, no, we're selling, buying, 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 selling, buying. It's, so just pay attention to the flip. And we use the bottom of the hour. So where I live in St. Louis, the market opens at 8:30. So 8:30, so 9:30 is the new candle, 10:30, 11:30. So mind those times, because the algos, the automated trading systems, they just flip. So that's why we pay attention to that.
So pretty much anytime a new time frame starts, you guys call it a flip. It's flipping into the next time frame.
Yeah, it's just the creation of a new candle, whatever time frame it's on. The 15-minute, any time frame.
Makes complete sense.
So to kind of go back to Market Scanner, but like I said, I start with my weeklies, and then I'll have a list. And then from there, I'll go down into the daily timeframes and see what I see in there, see if I see a setup. Like today, a perfect example was Crowd. Crowd did what Zoom wouldn't for me today. So
gotta love when one's working with you, the other one's not.
Yeah, I just picked the wrong horse. So and that happens. We can't trade them all. You just gotta pick them and hope they go. So here's the weekly time frame for Crowd. We had a 2 down this candle, but it was green. So to me, that means the buyers are in control, because they tried to take it down. It didn't work. We started coming back through. So on the weekly, I was like, we need to break this level with a minimum target of this. Then I went down to the daily, and this is, like I said, what I wanted on Zoom. Now, also, if you're using TrendSpider, a lot of people don't know what the session means. And when I met Dan in Chicago, I asked him, like, what is the session? And the thing is, with the session, it removes those funny wicks from the daily time frame. So like Tesla has a ton of crazy wicks on it, but I think if you use session, they'll be gone. I'll double check that in a second, but I wanted to show this first.
Well, and once we have that new data feed in that we're getting this weekend, that pretty much is going to erase the session candle. It's because it's the BATS data that we have. That session candle and daily can have a little discrepancy, but pretty sure once we have this new data feed in, the session and the daily are going to essentially be the same. there was a quick question. So you start with the weekly, you choose a couple good tickers, and then you go to the daily.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Yep. And then.
So these levels that I just marked were from the weekly chart.
Okay.
On crowd. I'll go back. See, so the top of this candle, and I marked the top of that candle. And then I went down to, we'll just go to the daily. And so with the strat, we are taught to enter on reversals. So wait for a pullback, enter right here. So, and I like to change, oops, hold on, we're not there yet. I like to change the colors. So like my daily lines on TrendSpider might be white, but my targets will be in yellow. So look how perfectly, so the daily 2 down, 2 up reversal hit that, which triggered the weekly buyers and then took out the weekly target all in one day. So this is what I wanted Zoom to do, but it didn't. Zoom only went to like here. It didn't even tick the top of last week's high. So that's like how I use the strat. So I look for weekly setups, then I can enter on the daily time frame to trigger the weekly. And it almost always works.
So are you, so you're entering on the daily interacting, the daily candle interacting, let's say that the daily 2 up is interacting with the previous 2 down instead of, because a lot of people will say, oh yeah, I look at the daily, but I enter on the 5-minute. You're actually looking at the daily for your entry.
I am, but you can take it, you know, you can take it lower than that. Cause sometimes like, let's look at the hourly, because I didn't trade this one today. I was on Zoom. Well, this one just worked right away, basically. So this was just a really nice trade. And look what happened when it hit that weekly, my weekly target. It ticked it. So my target was 198. It hit 198.27 and then fell apart. That's why the strat has helped me so much, because I take profit right here. My next target was 200 psychological. We didn't get there. So then I would have just cut any remainder that I had right when we broke this candle's low, because that's a reversal, a strat reversal. It's a 2 up with a 2 down. I don't want to sit through consolidation ever. I just want to cut my losses in, or not my losses, cut my position while I'm still in profit, because had I entered crowd and not Zoom, I would have entered here at 191.
Okay.
So I would have took most of my profit, and I even posted this on Twitter. I said the target was 190, 194, 198, and then 200 psychological. And if you don't know about psychological numbers, I've been getting a lot of questions about, I'll put like 200 psych, and people say, what's that? Psychological whole round numbers that people like to sell at. So Tesla kind of in increments of 50, you know, 700, 750, 800. Zoom could be every, I don't know, $5.
Everybody in the market has OCD. We're all just trading around even numbers.
Right.
50, 25.
Yeah.
I always find myself, if I'm even working out, I'm like, I have to do one more because I can't do 14. I have to do 15. So
I'm the opposite. I don't like odd numbers. I stick to evens.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we have a couple of questions that I think are really great questions. So first of all, so you have your white line there. Are you entering on that? And it seems like that's starting at the wick. So you're entering on the break of that wick?
I'm entering as soon as price breaches this level.
Okay. So that's
because
the wick.
that's my daily level.
Got it.
So that's yesterday's, well, what is today? Jesus. Yeah. So that's Monday's high.
Okay. That's good to know.
I would enter when we broke yesterday's high.
Okay, so for the person that asked that, it's pretty much the high of the previous candle. What would let's say that we broke that high, and you entered, where would your stop loss have been at that point? Let's say that for some reason we reverse. There was a
Okay,
question
so
on where.
if you're a person who doesn't use multiple time frames, and if you're only trading off the daily, a safe stop would be just the low of that candle. But to me, that's too much risk to how much reward. It's about even. So from here to here is the same as about from here to here. So now I don't obviously don't use one time frame. So you could go down, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. Perfect. Here it is. Okay. So here's the daily entry, right? So if you notice, we broke it, we came right back down. So even if you entered here, you probably don't want to stop out because corrective activity pullbacks are a common normal thing. So you see this nice healthy 15-minute, I don't want to say bull flag, but everybody knows it as a bull flag. We call it a 222 reversal. So even if you entered right here, you're totally fine. So then you're going to put your stop right here. So you entered at 191.67. Price went up, price came back down, but started turning back green, which is good because we are long. We like this chart long. We like it long on the weekly and we like it long on the daily. So when the 15-minute starts turning back green, we like that. So you could even add right here, basically at your exact entry point, and then both of your stops would go here. And then you can just, you know, if you want, you can walk it up to the low of each 15-minute candle. This one almost got to our 198 target. I mean, is that good enough for you? Like, you know, is a 191 move to 195 good? I mean, that's good. That's a 4-point move, but you could have waited. It did hit the 198 target, but it might have taken you out here. I mean, here, because you know, you had a low here. This is probably like a 30-minute 2-2 down if I had to guess.
So this comes into a question that just came up. So let's say that your target was 198. Are you going to not even think about it and say, okay, 198, we hit it, I'm out? Or are you going to wait for an actionable signal for a reversal?
I am you hit my target, I'm gone.
Okay.
I don't sit and wait for more because my very initial trade, going back to the weekly, my trade idea was here to here. So if I get that, great, I'm gone. Yep. Now it could get to here, but I'm on to something else. I'm a very impatient trader also. So if you're not, and you like to hold and you don't like to make a lot of moves during the day, go for it. I don't like to hold overnight. I will hold overnight if I'm trading options, which I've been starting to trade more, and I've been talking about options more. But no, a lot of the stratters call me the queen of magnitude because I take it and I'm gone. And then soon after, it just reverses immediately.
So that's where the sniper comes in.
Yeah.
She's just sniping targets and she's out.
Yeah. And it's the safest way, you know. You're here to make money. You hit your target, you did your job.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. There's a couple other questions. I think most of these you answered. So let's keep. You've got all types of goodies on here. So let's just keep going.
I know a lot of people have trouble drawing broadening formations. On TrendSpider, you can click the word trends and it'll kind of draw lines for you. I don't know if people know that, but this isn't a great example.
Is it all the way, is it updated? I think if you zoom back, you could, click that, go right under Sara Strat Sniper, go all the way down. You're going to have that little, yep, keep going a little to the right. You've got that little green bar, or sorry, that yellow bar that almost looks like a volume bar at the bottom. If you refresh that, yep. Oh, nope, you were just on it.
What you're, wait, here?
Yep, refresh and lock.
Oh,
it will redraw the lines for us. So I don't know if we're going to find a broadening formation, but this is the most updated. These are the most updated lines now, since it's anytime that that little yellow almost looks like a volume bar thing isn't at current price, you can always update it and refresh it, and it will.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So or you could just go, or you could go to the top right next to CRWD where you type in and click that little refresh button, and it will also do it that way too. So you don't have to go searching for it. Yep, exactly.
Well, I saw one while I was talking, and I wondered if the automated ones would do it.
It may on a different time frame. That's the nice thing about the automated trend lines. There's different preferences that you can use. So it's not, it's not just like, hey, these are TrendSpider's trend lines. You can mess with the trends, and a lot of the time it will find broadening formations. And
yeah, because in the other examples I was playing with, it did. And that's why I brought it up, because people do have a hard time seeing them. But this one did not.
I'm just curious, what trend settings are you on? If you go to the, those three dots next to it.
Hold on.
So you're on enhanced. Yeah, that's the one I usually use. It may just not be finding it at this point. We're going to refine that. So, we may even get to the point where you can type in broadening formation and it will only show that. That's kind of where we're going with it. That's way down the road, and that's when a million of these other projects are done. But we want to make that whole process more efficient. So it's just that easy. Click of a button, broadening formation, let's go.
No, but the lines aren't pretty nice usually. I like them.
And and for those that are looking at all these lines, are like, man, there's a lot of lines on that chart. The point of these lines is to be ideas, right? So if Sara wants to lock in any line, she just double clicks on those lines. Let's say you want to lock in that one right there. Click trend. Yeah, double click that one. You can just double click it.
Oh, I always right clicked.
Yeah, so just double click. Let's just double click that blue one.
Yeah, that pulls up that for me.
Oh, maybe it's your preferences. So generally the way I do it is because there's a lot of lines on there, right? And it would be inefficient to go and delete all of the lines you don't want and only keep the one you want on there. So what you can do, and we can talk after this, Sara, so we can get you set up with this, but you literally just double click on the line you want to add, you turn off trends, and then all the rest of the lines disappear. So you don't have to go and delete them. You can just double click on them and they're there. What kind of computer are you using? Mac or PC?
Never Mac. I have an HP Packard. I hate Apple and everything about it. I bought my daughter an iPhone 12 yesterday, and I got so mad. They made me buy a new charger. The box, they changed it from a USB to a C ring. They don't give you headphones. I'm like, pretty soon they're not even going to put the damn phone in a cardboard box anymore. They're just,
you got to buy the box first before you buy the phone. No, I do agree with that.
They're so scandalous.
The reason I ask is just because it may be just simply a little a little nuance between the two operating systems. But for those that are using Mac, I'm on a Mac. I just double click the line, turn off trends, and I can show that. I'll do a video on TrendSpider tonight and do that. But so back to the broadening formations. Let's assume that and that's the thing with the auto trends. Sometimes the auto trends aren't going to find what you're looking for, and you can just easily turn off the trend button and go back to a clean chart. And then you're able to, try to the refresh button. So click on trends again. and then just click that little circular refresh, or not that. Oh yeah, that one too. That's fine.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem to go like top to top. I'm not seeing any top lines really.
Try on the weekly.
I see a lot of bottom lines, like support lines, but not many top lines.
Try to go to the weekly.
Okay.
I'm just curious if it will, since the weekly is a little bigger of a time frame, it will catch it.
There's some top lines.
Yeah, sometimes it's a function of just like how far back it's looking.
But yeah, like I would connect that to that. Yeah, I totally should have my glasses on. Sorry for all my squinting.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, what else? Oh, indicators. I gotta get these pretty lines off the chart. So if you go to indicators, what was I? So you can go and search the strat. And that's the one that labels my bars, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the ones, that's the indicator that gives you the 1, the 2, whatever they are. Apple worked.
This is on the weekly, right? Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but this 119 level on Apple kept holding. We had, what we hit, 118.92 and 118.86. So we went 2 down, but didn't go anywhere. And then the long trade was from 124 to 127.22. That played out pretty nice.
So there was
127.12.
How many times a day are you generally trading, or how many different positions are you kind of managing at once? Is it like, you go to one to another, or you have like 3, 4 going at once?
So I am trying to learn how to multitask more than one position at a time. I'm usually a one position trader, but that's also why I've started to use options and your alert system more, because I want to be in more positions, because I see so much stuff that, like, there's so much going on all the time. There's so much opportunity, but I can't get to it all. So that's why, like, I'll set alerts, and I'll tell TrendSpider, so when we break 124.24, alert me, and then I already know I'm going to buy the 127 calls. And right now I'm kind of doing this small because I'm not very skilled at options, and I'm trying to learn how to play more positions at once. So these alerts have helped me a lot, because I don't even have to look at these things. And like with options, I won't even put a stop in, because I'm buying, my risk tolerance, which I don't have a very big risk tolerance. I'm not one of these 6-7 figure traders. I'm a pretty small trader. I mean, my account's not huge by any means. So, and I say that all the time. I'm like, guys, I'm not a baller, I'm a cautious single mom, and I'm just trying to pay my bills. So
hey, I think too many people get caught up in the size of an account. I mean, somebody can have $1 million account and make 10 grand, and it literally is nothing. You have a $10,000 account and you make $10,000 over a year. That's a nice return. So
yeah,
I think so many people get caught up in the number of, how many dollars do I have in my account versus how many percentage points do I have for the year? And, and I think that's
Twitter
awesome.
doesn't help that. Twitter doesn't help that with all these, I made $250,000 today, and I'm just like, wow, I paid my, like half of my rent today, my mortgage.
And that's hard. The thing. Everyone's got a different risk tolerance, different account size. So I think it's awesome that, you just focus on you. And it's so easy on Twitter to get caught up in, you may be having a great, be having a great day. And then you look on Twitter and someone's made 10 times more than you. And it's like, well, I still made what I wanted to make today. It's everyone's in a different spot in their life. So
And
I think
yeah,
that's
for
awesome.
sure. And I've commented on that before. I'm like, don't worry about what other people are doing. You're not competing against them. You're just trying to be better than you were yesterday. Like, just do you. Don't worry about everyone else. And that's all we're seeing out here. And it's annoying, and it's hard to keep, everybody grounded. And even yourself, sometimes you're like, man, if somebody can do that, I probably can too. But I'm not trying to risk my whole account, that's insane.
Oh, there's plenty of people that will though. So as far as we touched on the trend lines. We got a little off topic with the trend lines. So how do broadening formations in the strat combine, like, work together? Is there a case study that you have with kind of using the strat with the broadening formation? Because I know you guys, especially Rob, really touches on the broadening formation a lot. How do you use the broadening formation with reversal strat and that type of thing?
Well, I post tons of examples all the time, but right now, of course, I can't think of any, unless the only one that's coming into my brain right now is the SPY 1 hour from today, which isn't even a great example because it was such a tiny range. But so broadening formations, all we do is we find a high and we connect it to another high. And people overcomplicate this a lot. And I just tell them, practice. The more that you draw on your lines on your chart, the easier you're going to find them. And then you just connect a low to a lower low. And then that's why I was like, hey, today we have a SPY 60-minute rev strat right here. And that's why I said that the target, which we actually ended up hitting at the end of the day, but it was crap. But so in this hour, I said at 10:30, short here, here's your target. We didn't get there. Then we went inside. Then we went 2 up. Like, it was a crap trading day. If you're a SPY or a futures trader, it was kind of crappy. But here's how it works. And the goal is just to make a lower low compared to the previous low. It's not necessarily to hit this line, although sometimes it does. So you can even redraw it from this low to this low. So did we make a lower low? Yes, we did. And that's kind of how we use this to trade, because a lot of people are taught, hey, if this level breaks, support, that's our support. So if we break that, go short. Well, that's where we're covering our short, and that's our target. When newer traders are shorting the support break, we know about broadening formations. So we would cover here and then say, say SPY was open for another hour on the day. We would go long right here, going a 2 down, a 2 up reversal, and the target's going to be here. And this will carry in through tomorrow. So if we break this, the odds of coming up here are pretty likely.
Question. So let's say you have a broadening formation on the daily chart. If you're trading a 1 hour chart, are you considering that that daily broadening formation? Are you only looking at a broadening formation on the candlestick time frame you're looking at? So let's say you're trading the 1 hour. Would you be concerned about the daily broadening formation, or are you only concerned about the 1 hour broadening formation?
We're never only concerned about one time frame.
All right, to answer your question for that, X pulse. So multi-timeframe analysis is a big one for the strat for sure.
Trying to find one. Okay. Well, I had win on my chart, or on my list that I did not share this week because it was way too long and I don't want to put 50 ideas in people's heads.
Can you check out Netflix?
Oh yeah, Netflix is a good one.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, look at that. Sean with the win. Thank you.
Yep. Let's redraw this one.
Beauty.
Yeah, so there you go. So what a stratter would do, preferably we would have taken out this low, 492. We really like to take out all the pivots before going back through. But this was a good example on the way down. So this was a previous high. So we made a previous high up here. Then we had a 2 up, 2 down reversal. So a stratter would be like, we're shorting here. Our target is at least here to make a new low, which would continue the broadening formation. And it did. It did it beautifully. Then, you know, you could have flipped right around and gone long after it made new lows. And that's what we call TTO. You stopped everybody out. So if people had stops here and they let it go up and come all the way back down, they all just got stopped out right here because it's an obvious pivot. And that's when people say, the algos are picking me off, they're stop loss hunting. It's just broadening formations. So, you know, you could have gone short here, covered here, long here, covered at least here at the top of this to make a higher high. Like there's so much movement. Like lately you could just be playing Netflix. Like this is huge moves. That's pretty amazing.
Sean has a good question. This is a question I have for you too. So Netflix is clearly at the top of the broadening formation. It's at exhaustion risk. Would you play it short? Would you wait to see if it has a specific candle after that to make the move? Or are you looking at more of the multi-time frame analysis with like the monthlies that you just pulled up? How would that work?
So I'm always looking at the monthly or all time frames. But I mean, so you're still an inside month compared to the previous month. You still have this big outside bar. Man, I feel like I've talked a lot.
You were thinking this would be a 20-minute video and we're already at an hour.
Are we really? No wonder my throat feels like this. I don't usually sound like an old Italian woman.
Well, you sound great.
Someday.
So this is really a function of the previous month's highs where you would consider short or not.
As long as you don't breach 558.31 ish. What is it? No. 556.99. So as long as you don't breach that, you're not triggering the monthly time frames. So to answer his question on the daily, yes, you can take that short. And that's also a shooter, which is obviously a bearish candle. So
one thing I was gonna, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. I need a break. Go ahead, Jake.
So one thing I was gonna say, we have our broadening formation there. Can you zoom in just a little bit in that broadening formation? Yep, perfect. So you guys can see that the wick of today's candle did not actually test that broadening formation resistance above. Sarah, if you right click that broadening resistance and just go to the create alert at this line, this is something that's really, and if you can move it over, just click that top little, beautiful. You guys can add what's called sensitivity to these broadening resistance and support zones. So you don't have to be right on the money, right? You can get an alert within X amount of dollars of that line. And you can see that with this little buffer zone that's created. And Sarah, if you can move that sensitivity bar to the right and the left, you guys can see that by moving that bar.
You can't. You meant that one. I was like,
can
you drag them on the chart? I thought you were telling me something crazy.
No, just on the alert. So if you drag that to the right or the left, you'll see it gets bigger or smaller. And so this allows you to have some margin of error around these lines. So you don't have to be right on the money. So would that be PMG?
Yeah.
What is PMG?
Pivot machine gun. So,
Okay. I'm still learning all these acronyms. So
yeah, you
this is
have
Frankie.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 daily higher lows, which I consider a pivot machine gun 5 or more on any time frame. So yeah, it's definitely, and it's done that almost the whole time. Like if you look from here, you have a higher low, and then it just falls apart. And then we go up, and then it might just fall apart. And the thing about this is, well, this is more of a QQQ name, which hasn't hit all-time highs, but SPY has. So SPY is at exhaustion risk. So if we get a 2 down tomorrow, Netflix would be a really good potential short. And your target would be around, your first target would be around 529. So from like 543 to 529. And then
So I know we're getting close to max time for everyone and everyone's attention span, but some people could probably be on here for 5 hours and still just be like fully into it. But I want to be respectful of Sarah's time. She's already given us an hour of her time. A couple questions. So let's just take this as an example, right? What would your strike be on a short here? Would it
my
be
strike, I would do the 530s.
Okay.
Because I always say I'm not an option expert. I'm pretty new to trading options, but I find that if I pick my target strike, it's obviously less money up front and the gain is bigger percentage wise. So I buy out of the money when my short triggers, but I sell in the money. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Got it. Quick question from Frankie, who's kindly raising his hand. Would you be trying to enter before it turns to a 2 down?
No. You don't have a trigger.
Got it. Okay, Frankie, that's
so that is your, don't anticipate react. Don't be like, oh, it's a shooter, it's probably gonna trigger. Don't anticipate or guess, just wait for the trigger.
And are you ignoring gap ups or gap downs? Does that come into play at all?
It depends. So like here on this 2-1-2, which is a strat trade, like we would have gone long on the break of the inside day with that being the first target. But unless it comes down and tests the gap, I won't play it. Like I'll keep an eye on it to see if we do come down and test 514, because I want my gaps like filled. So this is one I would have stayed away from, and I would have missed all that because it just didn't fit my rules. Now you could have entered here, and an ad would be here. But even if you entered here, and like that's still that's a chunker, And I do my little weekly setup list, and if earnings is that week, I just remove it from my list completely. So that's one way that I narrow down my watch list is upcoming earnings.
So a couple more. So I think I can answer this one for you. They said this is the daily level, but what about intraday? I mean, I think you guys look at candles as a candle, right? You don't care if it's the daily, the 5 minute, it's just a pattern with whether it's a daily or a 5 minute. So you would use the same type of approach with a 5 minute candle or a daily, right?
What do they mean?
So I think I'm not sure what they mean, but I'm thinking, would you wouldn't change the way that you're looking at higher lows over the machine gun pivot. A machine gun pivot on a 5 minute is the same, or pivot machine gun. I think I said that wrong. Or whatever the term is. that is the same on a 5-minute as it is on a 10-minute or a daily. It doesn't change. It's all fractal.
Yes, any time frame. And like I said, that's why I have a rule. So I consider a pivot machine gun on any time frame having 5 or more like higher lows.
So pivot machine gun is a pivot machine gun, whether it's on the 5-minute or whether it's on the monthly. The time frame means nothing.
Correct.
So you can use the same strategy as you did on the 5-minute than you do on the daily. Maybe you're more of a swing trader and you want to look at the daily, but it's not going to change based on whatever time frame.
So when I say pivots, that means people put their stops at the low of each of these days. So people's stops are like take profit targets. So if you went short here at 543, that's a target, 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 that's a target. And they're consecutive. So basically, in like technical analysis terms, there has been no support built this entire move. There is no daily high or low, right? There's no bull flags. So when that happens, as fast as it goes up is just as fast as it can come down. There was no support built. In
interesting
TA terms, does that help?
It helps. Yeah, it makes sense to me. So what I just said, eres. Oh man, I should know that. So it means you're the best.
Oh.
Eres lo mejor.
I saw.
I'm probably butchering that, but yes, it just means that you're the best. Everyone has confirmed that. So one last thing that I want to touch on. The current candle scan, and you don't have to go through this, but when you're going on the scanner, we have something called a current candle scan that allows you to scan for strat patterns that are still in force. So we had a question: how do you scan for two down, 2 up reversal before it happened on Zoom today, or how it happened on Zoom? You have the ability to scan for things that are still in force. In force patterns are a pretty big deal on the strat. So being able to scan for those things in force allows you to see these things as they're happening, where a lot of scanners out there are only showing you what has happened. And a lot of the time on the strat, it's too late at that point.
Yeah.
Yep. So that current candle box right there, yep, is how you scan for what's happening now.
Yeah, so like if we're intraday, I'll just click inside 60s and then hit scan because I want to know what tickers are an actual inside bar because we like those. We like to play the breaks of them. So strat, so this is a 2-1-2 reversal. And it's a reversal because we're reversing the color of the first 2. So the first 2 is red. Then we went inside. Then we're reversing it and going green. So the entry, sorry, I have like a hair in my face. So the entry is at 12, technically 55. You have to break the inside bar. So 1255. And then the first target is 1293. And we hit 1298 and dropped a little bit lower. So that target or trade was a successful strat trade.
Makes sense to me. All right, everyone. That's about all the time we have. Sara has been more than generous with her time. I based on how many people are engaged and attended this, something tells me that we will do another one of these if Sara's open to it in the future. But we also, only have so much time in the day to do this stuff. So I think we went over a ton of different things. Sara's process is really starting with the weekly scan. She said she likes the inside bars. She takes those and then goes into them in a little more depth with the daily and then kind of goes from there. So there were a couple questions about the process, but you had really already touched on that quite a few times. So does this work on all TrendSpider plans? Yes, it does. We will, I don't know if we'll publish this on YouTube, but I'll get the recording and I'll send it to Sara and I'll share it as well on TrendSpider. But yes, it is recorded, so you guys can go back and check this out. We do have, if for those that have not tried out TrendSpider yet, Sara does have a coupon code. It's SS25. That's 25% off any plan. Remember, we do have the free trial, so you don't have to go in TrendSpider.com and go buy a plan just to try this out. You can easily just try the free trial out, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, no hard feelings. We want to make sure you guys are using this because you're buying it because you're using it. So the best way to do that is definitely to try the free trial out first and be safe. IN says, Sara, you are the GOAT, greatest of all time, great explainer of the strat. Thank you so much again for doing all of this and going through and sharing your knowledge as well as your time with everybody today. And for everybody that hasn't tried TrendSpider, I just shared that SS25, which is good for 25% off any plan. And we do have one-on-one demos. So if Sara's definitely not going to go through and give everybody a demo, but we do have a team that gives one-on-one demos for newer users. So don't feel like,
hey, and your site's really good with all those helpful, what is it? The university and like how you can use TrendSpider, the university page or whatever.
Yep, the university page. We have we need to have you come on a technical analysis series and just do, what is a 1, what is a 2, and I think that would be a great thing to share on the university as well.
And you have all these fun little links next to anything that say how to, and then it takes you to a link of like what it means, how it works, so that's super helpful too.
That's a great point. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
IN, there can only be one GOAT. I'm going to say Sara's the GOAT, but I appreciate you saying that I'm the GOAT too, but we're going to give that one to Sara. She is very well versed in this. She's an incredible teacher. I mean, I learned more about the strat in this video than I have probably ever. So, well, until next time, Sara, I hope you have a great rest of the week. You're awesome. You really explain things well. You're a great user of the platform, and we appreciate all you do.
Well, thank you for having me, and it was fun meeting you in fake real Zoom life.
Hey, real life is just around the corner, so we're getting there quick. So everybody have a good night. Sara, I'm sure we'll talk to you later today. I'll send you over the link when it's ready, the recording, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, everybody, have a good night. See you, Sara.
Bye, guys.
Bye.